contest. And with that being said, Caitlin Clark has declined to take part in it. Now, some people mad, some people ain't. But me, I definitely get why she declined. So Alexa Phillip, who was the one who kind of broke this story about an hour ago, that the three-point contest has been listed.
Sabrina Ionesco and Kayla McBride also turned down invitations. 3 of the league's most marketable shooters all said no to the same event. That's not a coincidence. That's coordination. And when you look at who DID accept, the picture becomes even clearer. The WNBA announced 6 participants: Azia Foote, Marina Mabrey, Rhyne Howard, Natasha Hyde, Aaliyah Boston, and Bridget Carlton. Now these are talented players, but let's be honest about what happened here. The Indiana Fever had 3 players in the top 4 for three-point shooting percentage in the entire league heading into All-Star Weekend. Aaliyah Boston was shooting 46% from 3, Sophie Cunningham was at 43.7%, Kelsey Mitchell was at 42%. 3 Fever players, top 4 in the league, and the only one who made the final roster was Aaliyah, who reportedly accepted her invitation.
And let's pull it up right now. Alexa Philippou here. Instead of Caitlin Clark, Sabrina Ionescu, and Kayla McBride were invited to participate in the three-point contest but declined, a source told ESPN. The WNBA has announced 6 participants for Friday's three-point contest: AZ Fudd, Marina Mayberry, Rhyne Howard, Natasha Heidelman, Janelle Solomon, and Bridget Carlton.
USA Today confirmed the story with a source who spoke on condition of anonymity because they weren't authorized to discuss it publicly. That detail matters. Someone inside the organization wanted this information out there, but couldn't attach their name to it. That tells you there's internal recognition that this is embarrassing for the league. The timing makes it even more significant. This news dropped right after Caitlin was named Eastern Conference Player of the Week for a performance where she became the first player in WNBA history to record 45 points and 10 assists in a single game. She's not declining because she's struggling. She's declining from a position of strength. She just hit the fastest 200 career three-pointers in league history. She doesn't need to prove she can shoot. Everyone already knows what she's proving instead is that she's not going to be used.
Let's read some of these comments. Somebody said, y'all not about to use them for views. I know a silent protest when I see one. So it's not just us that decided to protest this league. It looked like Caitlin Clark could be protesting it as well. Someone said there is no upside to CC joining in the three-point contest. It's a lose-lose for her. If she loses, her critics will say she's overrated. If she wins, her haters will say she is showing off. Sad but true. She always takes the high road. Let the haters hate. Amen to that.
Now here's where this gets really interesting. Aaliyah Boston is shooting 46% from 3 this season. That's the highest percentage of any player in the WNBA. She's not known as a three-point shooter. She's a dominant post player who happens to be incredibly efficient from distance on limited attempts, and she accepted the invitation to participate. Why would she say yes when her teammates said no? Because Aaliyah is in a different position. She's not the face of the controversy. She's not the one being physically targeted every game. She's not the one whose every move is scrutinized and criticized. She can participate in All-Star Weekend activities without it becoming a referendum on her entire existence in the league. But for Caitlin, Kelsey, and Sophie, this is different. They're part of a team that's been systematically disrespected all season. The officiating has been atrocious, the physical play against them has bordered on assault, and the league has done nothing to address it.
Somebody else said, what about Kelsey Mitchell? She have at least been invited. I don't know if Kelsey Mitchell was invited, but like we don't know the full inner and outer workings of this. Somebody said, any hints as to why they would have blasted? Glad CC want no parts. Less money for the Ingrid's pockets. By the way, anything that put money in these players' pockets out of expensive CC, I'm against it. Definitely is, man. So, Yahoo's.
Look at the names who are participating. Azia Foote, Marina Mayberry, Rhyne Howard, Natasha Hyde, Bridget Carlton. These are good players, but let's look at the numbers. Where is Azia Foote ranked in three-point shooting percentage? Where does Marina Mayberry rank compared to Sophie Cunningham? Where does Rhyne Howard rank compared to Kelsey Mitchell? The answer is they don't. The Fever players are objectively better three-point shooters than several of the participants who accepted invitations. So if this isn't about selecting the best shooters, what is it about? Is it about geographic diversity? Is it about spreading the spotlight? Is it about avoiding the appearance that the All-Star Weekend is too fever-centric? Because if that's the concern, the league has already lost that battle. Caitlin Clark is the All-Star Weekend. She's the reason viewership is up 300%. She's the reason tickets sold out in minutes. She's the reason corporate sponsors are suddenly interested in the WNBA. You can't have it both ways. You can't use her to sell the event and then deliberately exclude her team from the marquee competitions.
So this is an article from USA Today. Let's see if they got any inner workings as to why. It said that Caitlin Clark in the WNBA three-point contest was abruptly canceled last year, which we all know Caitlin Clark only played 13 games. The last game was played on July the 13th. And Caitlin Clark declined an invitation to participate in the 2026 WNBA three-point contest in Chicago. A person with knowledge of the situation told USA Today Sports on Tuesday. The spokesperson spoke on the conditions of anonymity because they're not authorized to speak publicly.
So let's talk about what this silent protest actually means for the future of the league, because this isn't just about one three-point contest. This is about a fundamental breakdown in the relationship between the WNBA's biggest star and the organization that's supposed to be promoting her. Think about the position Caitlin Clark is in right now. She's a rookie who's exceeded every possible expectation. She's drawing crowds that the WNBA hasn't seen in decades. She's generating media coverage that's putting the league in mainstream sports conversations. She's selling jerseys, she's selling tickets, she's selling the entire product, and in return she's been physically brutalized, publicly diminished, and systematically disrespected by officials who refuse to protect her on the court. The flagrant fouls she's absorbed this season would have resulted in suspensions in any other professional league. The hip checks, the forearm shivers, the plays where she's been knocked to the ground with no call. They're not basketball plays, they're intimidation tactics. And the league has allowed it to happen because addressing it would require acknowledging that their veteran players are targeting a rookie out of jealousy and resentment. Now the WNBA wants her to show up for All-Star Weekend and smile for the cameras and participate in their made-for-TV events. And she's saying no, not because she can't compete, not because she's afraid of losing, but because she's drawing a line. She's saying that if the league won't protect her during games that actually matter, she's not going to help them generate revenue during exhibitions that don't. And she's not alone in this. Sabrina Ionescu and Kayla McBride also declined. These are established stars who have their own grievances with how the league operates. Sabrina has been vocal about pay equity and revenue sharing. Kayla has spoken about the lack of investment in player development and facilities. They're all saying the same thing in different ways. The current system isn't working, and we're not going to keep pretending it is. What makes this particularly significant is the timing. This is happening during a season where the WNBA is experiencing unprecedented growth. Attendance is up, viewership is up, merchandise sales are up, corporate sponsorships are up. This should be a moment of celebration and unity. Instead, we're seeing fractures that reveal deep structural problems the league has been ignoring for years. The veteran players who resent Caitlin's success aren't wrong to be frustrated. They've been grinding in obscurity for years, playing in empty arenas, taking second jobs in the offseason, dealing with substandard travel and accommodations. And then this rookie shows up with an 8-year, $28 million Nike deal before she plays a single professional game. That's a bitter pill to swallow, but here's what those veterans are missing. Caitlin Clark didn't create that inequality, the WNBA did. The league failed to market its stars effectively for 2 decades. It failed to build a sustainable business model. It failed to negotiate media deals that reflected the value of its product. And now that someone has finally broken through and captured mainstream attention, instead of rallying around her and using that momentum to lift everyone up, they're tearing her down out of spite. That's not Caitlin's fault. That's a failure of leadership at the league level, and her declining this invitation is a direct indictment of that leadership. She's saying, without saying it publicly, that the WNBA doesn't deserve her participation until it starts treating her and her teammates with basic respect and fairness. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has been largely silent on the officiating controversies this season. She hasn't addressed the physical targeting of Caitlin Clark. She hasn't explained why flagrant fouls that would result in suspensions in the NBA are being treated as common fouls in the WNBA. She hasn't acknowledged that the league has a problem with veteran players using intimidation tactics against rookies. Her silence is deafening, and now she's facing the consequences of that silence. The league's biggest star is publicly declining to participate in All-Star Weekend events. That's a PR disaster. That's the kind of story that ESPN and sports media outlets will cover extensively, and not in a way that makes the WNBA look good. This is embarrassing for the league, and it's entirely self-inflicted. The three-point contest without Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Kelsey Mitchell is going to draw a fraction of the viewership it could have generated. Fans who tuned in specifically to watch Caitlin compete aren't going to care about Azia Hafut versus Marina Mabrey. That's not a knock on those players, it's just reality. Caitlin Clark is the draw. She's the reason casual fans are paying attention, and she's not going to be there. The WNBA is about to learn a very expensive lesson about what happens when you take your biggest star for granted. The ratings for that three-point contest are going to be significantly lower than they could have been. The social media engagement is going to be minimal. The post-event coverage is going to focus on who wasn't there rather than who won. And all of that lost attention translates directly into lost revenue. This could have been avoided so easily. All the league had to do was officiate games fairly, protect their stars from dangerous physical play, create an environment where the best players can showcase their talents without fear of injury from cheap shots. That's basic stuff. That's the bare minimum of what a professional sports league should provide. Instead, the WNBA allowed a toxic culture to fester, where veteran players felt entitled to physically punish a rookie for being too successful too quickly. They allowed media personalities to publicly diminish her accomplishments. They allowed officials to swallow their whistles on blatant fouls while calling ticky-tack stuff on her teammates. And now they're shocked that she doesn't want to help them sell their All-Star weekend. The question now is, what happens next? Does the league learn from this and make meaningful changes to how it operates? Does Commissioner Engelbert finally address the officiating problems publicly? Do they implement stricter rules about physical play and actually enforce them? Do they create a culture where rising stars are celebrated rather than resented? Or do they double down on the status quo and hope this blows over? Do they dismiss this as one player being difficult? Do they try to spin it as Caitlin Clark not being a team player? Because if they go that route, they're going to lose her, and when they lose her, they lose everything she's brought to the league. The viewership, the attention, the corporate interest, all of it evaporates. Caitlin Clark doesn't need the WNBA as much as the WNBA needs her. She's already secured generational wealth through her Nike deal. She's already achieved legendary status in basketball. She could walk away tomorrow and be fine. The league, on the other hand, would crater without her. They'd go right back to playing in half-empty arenas with minimal media coverage and struggling to justify their existence as a going concern. So this three-point contest decision is a warning shot. It's Caitlin and her teammates saying, we're not going to keep accepting disrespect and mistreatment just because you need us for ratings. Start treating us fairly or we'll stop cooperating. And if the league is smart, they'll take that warning seriously and make real changes before this gets worse, because it absolutely can get worse. This is just the beginning.
Recipients, as you guys can see here, this is the banner I believe the WNBA put out here, and Caitlin Clark's name ain't on there, bro. Nope, it ain't on there. Buck is incoming. Meet the competitors for this year's three-point contest. Has over 240,000 views and 156 comments. For another year, Caitlin Clark is not in the WNBA three-point contest. Now, AZ Fudd is there. I don't know the current shooting percentage of Sophie and Caitlin right now, but I think it's pretty damn high. Sophie for sure. For somebody that's losing her fans, I would imagine Caitlin Clark will want to participate. She's disappointed, and she wants all the fame without putting in the work. You sound like a damn hater. And Caitlin Clark is not losing her fans. Caitlin Clark is protesting. I believe this is a silent protest. Here it is. Somebody says Sophie ranks among the top 5 players in the WNBA for three-point shooting percentage, hovering consistently around 43.7%. Why is she not part of the three-point contest? Kathy Engelbert and Amber Cox, ESPN. So as you guys can see here, it ain't looking good, man. People was definitely fed up and sick of it, man. And I just gotta agree with it. Wasn't of picking the best, the most popular player, but clear anti-fever agenda. Now, I believe they might have tweeted this before news came out that Caitlin Clark actually declined that, but I don't know if Sophie would have turned it down. Now, we don't know if they invited Sophie, but I'm pretty sure Sophie is definitely going to respond to this. You know what I'm saying? I do know Sophie do respond to people. If we like add her a bunch of times on Twitter, try to see why, like, got to be something we could do. Sophie Cunningham as of right now is 43%, Aaliyah Boston 46%, Kelsey Mitchell 42%.